Old enough to drive, the Sacramento Kings losing streak hit 16 games Saturday night in Austin. 5 more losses. This thing can walk into a bar.
You are Locked On Kings, your daily Sacramento Kings podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in. I am James Ham, your Kings insider for ESPN 1320, the Kings Beat, and host of Locked On Kings. Been a credentialed media member for the last 16 years and a member of the Pro Basketball Writers Association. I've seen it all in Sacramento. We, of course, here at Locked On Kings, we're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcasting network. Thanks for making us your first listen of the day. Today's show is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Have your cake and drink it too. Birthday cake flavor is back. No fork needed. Vanilla cakey flavor, caffeinated kick, and no sugar. It's party time. Order now at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon. We got a lot to talk about tonight. The Sacramento Kings lost again, this time in Austin against the San Antonio Spurs. It's part of this whole rodeo week or 2 weeks that the San Antonio Spurs always step away from their home arena, and it's just bizarre to see them play in Austin, but it is what it is. Today's show, we're going to hit 6 quick thoughts at the end like we typically do on game nights. We're also going to talk about Keegan Murray scoring 20 points. But before all of that, we're going to talk about the battle of the Frenchmen, Maxime Raynaud versus Victor Wembanyama. It was epic. It started off rough. It was epic, though. All right, before we dive into the show, if you don't mind, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, hit that little notification so it makes it ding every single time we go live here on Locked On Kings. That would be greatly appreciated. But look, Max Raynaud, Victor Wembanyama, 2 Frenchmen. These guys are actually only, I believe, 9 months apart in age. They're both 22 years old. Max will turn 23 in April. Victor Wembanyama, of course, is in his 3rd NBA season, where Max Raynaud is just in his rookie campaign. These guys played together on the French national team for a long time. They've known each other for years. Their parents are friends. This is a fun thing that's going to develop over the next couple of years as Max Raynaud tries to, I'm never going to say catch up to Victor Wembanyama, because there is no player in the league that will catch up to Victor Wembanyama when he's at his height. If he actually reaches the heights that we think he will reach. He is an absolutely incredible freak athlete, something that we've never seen in the league before. 7'4", like crazy wingspan, can take off from almost the 3-point line, it feels like, in dunk. It's just absolutely amazing to watch him work. And to be honest with you, I thought that this was going to be a 40, 50-point blowout. The Kings fell behind 11-0. Victor Wembanyama blocked 3 of the Kings' first 5 shots. They didn't score a shot until it was already 11-0, and it just did not look like they were going to be able to score at all on that San Antonio team. Part of it's Stephon Castle, part of it's De'Aaron Fox, part of it's Kelvin Johnson having a really, really solid game. But overall, I think the centerpiece to that team is Victor Wembanyama. He's going to be the centerpiece. He's going to be a multi-time league MVP if things go as planned. And he already has his team all the way up at like number 2 in the Western Conference. So really, really impressive. He gets out, he blocks a bunch of shots right away. He blocked Max right at the rim. I think he also blocked another one of Max Raynaud's shots to open the game. And it looked like it was going to be a really, really long night for Max Raynaud. But look, the one thing I'm so impressed with Raynaud so far this season is he just makes adjustments. He is one of the smartest players I've ever come across. We've talked about this. Stanford grad, he has a degree in mathematics and computer science, super analytical mind. But there also comes a point where it's like, what are you supposed to do against one of the great players in the league and one of the most difficult players to defend because of just the sheer size and length of Victor Wembanyama? I thought Max did a really good job tonight. He had 16 points. He had 14 rebounds. He had 3 assists and a block. The assist totals keep climbing. It's something that we're seeing from him. He's making some really nice passes. I also love this two-man game that's developing between him and Malik Monk. I think that can be special. Malik played extremely well. We'll get to that in 6 quick thoughts. But tonight, again, Max started off slow, but he finished 6 of 14 from the field. And look, that showed me something. It showed me that he made the adjustments. He had an up and under, a step through on Wembanyama that I thought was next level. He had the floater game going for a little bit. He took a couple of threes. They did not fall, but that's okay. You want him taking those 3-point shots. Eventually, he's going to be a stretch 5. And that's something that I think the Kings are going to reap the benefits of that for a long time. This is a very, very good young player who's developing into not just a rotational player, but one of the better rookies in this class. He tied Derek Queen tonight with his 10th double-double of the season. They both have 10. So it's the rookie ladder of double-doubles. He's tied with Derek Queen. So that's something that you can kind of pin your hopes to. Tonight, he also had 7 offensive boards, which was a new career high. I thought he did a really nice job there. I also, realistically give a shout out to the adjustment that the Kings made early. They were getting clobbered early. Then they came all the way back and they took a lead and they led in the second quarter. They actually looked solid going into the third, and then the wheels fell off the bus like it typically does. Victor Wembanyama had 28 points, 15 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 blocks. He's an incredible talent. There's nothing you can do to stop him. But I think what we are seeing from Max Raynaud is he continues to get better. We're talking about a guy who was a 42nd pick in the NBA draft, so a second rounder. There's a lot of talk right now that, he could have gone in the late first round, but he pushed to go to the Kings. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. That's one of those conjecture things that we see a lot as we get further and further away from a draft, especially when you hit on a player and it becomes sort of the mystique of why is it that he was available this deep in the draft. To be honest with you, it didn't make any sense when it happened. This was a player that should have gone in the early to mid 20s. And to see him fall to 42, it's possible that they leveraged to get him to somewhere where it would make sense for him. But again, I'm not sure why Sacramento would just flat out make sense for Max Raynaud and his team unless you wanted him to be the backup behind Domantas Sabonis. Now, look, Sabonis has only played 19 games on the season, I believe. That's the total. And he's done. This is Max Raynaud's show from here on out. He's going to have to prove that he's ready to take on this, and he's going to have to prove that he can get better and better each and every game. But it's opportunities like this where he's going up against, the best shot blocker in the league by far and one of the most crazy defensive players that anyone has ever come across. But we're getting to see the organic growth of Max Raynaud. And to me, this is great. I want to see more passing. I want to see more of the two-man game. I think the Kings abandoned a lot of that stuff a little bit early tonight, and that's probably why the game started getting out of control and a little lopsided. But, especially with Dylan Cardwell out as well, there's unlimited opportunity here for Max Raynaud. It's not like Drew Eubanks is going to steal his minutes. The one thing that did keep Raynaud off the court a little bit this evening was foul trouble. He got in foul trouble trying to defend Wembanyama. He's going to have to clean that up, especially he had 2 ticky-tack fouls that he had no business doing, touch fouls way outside. He accidentally popped Wembanyama in the forehead, just coming up and, putting a hand in his face and just smacked him. That's not going to fly, and he's going to have to clean that up if he wants to stay on the court. But overall, a really impressive night from Max Raynaud. All right, we're going to step aside. When we come back, we're going to dive into the Keegan Murray thing because, look, he is the future of the Sacramento Kings, and we need to see how he develops from one game to the next. And tonight was another step forward for the former number 4 overall pick. Ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals and in live and in person? Well, FanDuel is giving you a chance to turn that dream into a reality with their NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. Use your profit boost on any NBA future, and you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for 2. That's right. Finals tickets, flights, the whole experience. If you're already looking at the board and thinking about which team can make a deep run, this is a perfect time to lock in. I love futures this time of year. Whether it's picking a team to win the championship or grab a conference title, it adds that extra layer of excitement to every game down the stretch. And now, not only can you earn cash with your pick, but you could also earn a trip to the NBA Finals. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. This episode of Locked On Kings is also brought to you by Quo. New year, new system. This is the time when a lot of us look at the messier parts of how we run our businesses and think there has to be a better way. And there is. Streamlining your communications is one of the quickest upgrades you can make. That's why this episode is brought to you by Quo, spelled Quo, the smarter way to run your business communications. Because when your team is reachable, organized, and communicating in one place, you're not just working cleaner, you're creating more opportunities to connect with customers. I love how simple Quo is to work with. It makes everything easier. Your whole team can call and text from one shared business number, so nothing gets missed. Everyone sees a conversation thread, which makes replies and faster and more personal. On top of that, Quo's smart AI tool automatically logs calls, summarizes conversations, and highlights next steps. So details never slip through the cracks. It's no surprise Quo is the #1 rated business phone system on G2, trusted by more than 90,000 businesses, from solo operators to growing teams. Make this year the year where you lose no opportunity and no customer. Try Quo for free, plus get 20% off your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/lockedonnba. That's QUO.com/lockedonnba. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers. All right, we're back. Make sure you check out the Everydayer Club on Locked On. It gives you an opportunity to listen to this podcast without interruption, without commercials. It also gives you access to a Discord channel. Check out the link down below in the description and check out the Everydayer Club, or go to lockedonkings.supercast.com. Let's talk about Keegan Murray. We're going to do a lot of talking about Keegan Murray down the stretch, because I think realistically, Keegan Murray is a pathway forward for the Sacramento Kings. He is the light at the end of the tunnel, if you will. Like, it's great that Maxime Raynaud is having a breakout season. It's great that Dylan Cardwell became this really fun thing. It's great that Nate Clifford is getting better at basketball. We'll talk about him in 6 quick thoughts. But at the end of the day, Keegan Murray is a #4 overall pick from 3.5 seasons ago. This is a guy that you pinned your hopes to. It's a guy that you gave a 5-year, $140 million contract to. So every single game that he steps on the court from here on out, we're waiting to see if he can take that next step, that next leap that we've kind of been hoping and holding our breath for the last 2 years. His career has been kind of knocked off kilter, not just by injuries this season, but last season by the addition of a player like DeMar DeRozan, which completely changed the dynamic of the team. The trade of De'Aaron Fox, which of course De'Aaron Fox and Keegan Murray were super close. Uncle Keegan, he babysat the Fox's youngest child when he was born, pushed him around in the stroller all the time. So look, like, at the end of the day, you are penning a lot of your hopes and dreams to the fact that Keegan Murray can become a #1 or #2 or #3 option at the NBA level. Opening the last 2 seasons, he's been more like a #5 in the starting lineup. He's a defensive specialist, and he's got more to offer than that. So tonight against the Spurs, I thought he looked for a shot early. I think it was 3 of 4 in the first quarter, but he also had got to the free throw line 5 times. He hit 4 out of 5 from the stripe early in the game. He came out of the first quarter with 11 points, really playing well. The free throw thing is going to be the mechanism that helps him become a 18 to 20 point per game scorer. And I still believe he can get there, but he does have to get to the free throw line. So he got to the free throw line, I think once was off a drive, and then the other was off a 3-point shot where he was fouled. he's going to have to continue to do that as the season goes on and as his career goes on, figure out how to get to the line. So tonight he had 20 points. This was his fifth 20-point game of the season, but it's only his 21st game. He's 7 of 16 shooting. Again, that's 16. That's fine. He should be between 15 and 20 shots every single night from here on out. Game one in his return, he had 13 shots. He needs to bump that up. Of course, he didn't play a lot late in last game, and he didn't play a lot late in this game. But he is already logging close to 36 minutes tonight. Doug Christie is relying on him for everything. And certainly on the defensive end, he has been absolutely spectacular so far. Where he hasn't been spectacular is from behind the arc. And we saw him hit his 3-point shots early, but he finished 2 of 8 from 3. So look, this is something that's kind of strange because Keegan Murray came into the league. He set the rookie record for most made 3-pointers. And, we thought he was going to be a knockdown 3-point shooter throughout his career. He shot almost 42% from 3 as a rookie. Since then, his 3-point percentage has dipped in each and every season. And, again, did 36%, 34%. And all of a sudden this year, he's at 27%. So he hit a couple of threes last game. It looked like he's getting back on the right path. But 2 of 8 tonight, that puts him at 27 for 100 on the season. Exactly 27%. He's got to get better. He's got to get more consistent. And I think part of that is getting his legs underneath him again. He is still playing defense at an extremely high level. There was some hope that he was going to get a little bit of a break on the defensive end when he and DeAndre Hunter were paired together. But unfortunately, the Kings announced on Friday that DeAndre Hunter is now out for the season. So we knew he caught a finger in the eye against the Clippers, and he was on the floor. He was bleeding. It was a bad scene. It looked like he had iritis, which is like an irritation of the eye. They were getting closer and closer to a return. He talked to the media on Wednesday, and then out of nowhere, when they went for re-examination on Friday morning, they were about to take off and fly, again to Austin for this game. They realized that he had a detached cornea, and so they went in and did a procedure to fix his eye. Hopefully that's gonna, heal up quickly. But he's out a minimum of 8 weeks, which means his season is completely over. So the reason why that matters in a Keegan Murray conversation, not a detached cornea, a detached retina. My bad. Excuse me. Want to make sure I'm accurate here when it comes to injuries. But that basically is going to cost him the remainder of the season. And now we're not going to get to see Keegan Murray play a little bit different on the defensive end with a second, 6'8" forward that can switchable and all that stuff. It's kind of back to square one. And we've seen a lot of Precious Achiuwa starting alongside Keegan Murray. That does help Keegan because Precious has developed into a very, very good defender. But it's not the same because you lose a 3-point threat that is Hunter. So not a great couple of days here in Sacramento when it comes to all that stuff. But Keegan Murray scoring 20 points, that's a good sign. We need to see more of it. We need to see him consistently do this for the rest of the season. All right. We're going to step aside. When we come back, we're going to jump into 6 quick thoughts and break down this new and exciting way to lose a basketball game that the Sacramento Kings chose to do tonight. All right. Welcome to the 5-Hour Energy Flavor Draft. We're looking at every aspect of the draft to let you know which tasty flavors are the best and which might be sleepers. The board is set. The flavors are ready. And only one flavor is going to take the top spot. 5-Hour Energy has a wide variety of flavors, something for everyone, and gives you a boost with 0 sugar. I like the cherry flavored 5-Hour Energy, but I'm also kind of partial to the grape. I think they're both really good. Cherry is sort of my favorite. It has a bold cherry candy style flavor. It's sweet with a light tart edge, but with clean, slightly tangy finish. Grape, it tastes like grape juice. It's smooth, almost syrup-like fruit profile. I think I would draft cherry number 1 overall, but the grape is also great. I'm also excited to try the sour apple flavor. I'm a big sour apple guy. So find your new flavor at 5 Hour Energy Shots, available online at 5 Hour Energy or on Amazon. All right, let's dive into 6 quick thoughts. Um, Look, I mentioned it in the opening. The Sacramento Kings have now lost 16 consecutive games. Their losing streak is old enough to drive. I don't know how this is going to get better. They're in the middle of a 5-game road trip, and the Kings are the worst, road team that I've ever seen. They're not the worst road team in Sacramento Kings history. They had that one crazy season where between 2 seasons they lost 43 straight. They also in one season, the first season of those 2, they actually won, like, the 3rd road game of the season and then lost the rest of them. So they went 1-40 on the road for a season. But here we are, looking at this game against the Spurs. Um, the score, it really wasn't indicative of what happened in the second half. The Kings got ran over at some point. They were right in the game, and then, like what's happened so often lately, they go from right in the game to not in the game at all. And I thought this game, they actually held on a little bit longer. The final score is 139 to 122. But that's still not good enough. I mean, that's a 17-point loss. And the only reason it was even that close at the end was because Doug McDermott went out and hit 2 threes and scored a bucket. So he had 8 points in like a couple of minutes. Again, the Kings are now 3-26 on the road. But let's dive into 6 quick thoughts. Number 1, building momentum. This is the second game back from injury for Keegan Murray, and look, he is looking for his shot, and to me, that is the biggest key for him. Will he take this next logical step and go out there and try to hunt shots? I thought tonight he did hunt shots. I also think he made a poor decision late in the game where he decided to take De'Aaron Fox on one-on-one. Fox picked his pocket and ran down and dunked on him, which, again, was one of those things that happens in a game, especially one that's slipping away. He finished with 20 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 blocks. The 2 rebounds is a little bit low, but there were other players that had really nice rebounding nights, including Raynaud with the 14 rebounds. So I'm not too concerned about that. We'll dive into some of the other reasons why the rebounding number was off this evening. But again, the Kings didn't shoot that well in the second half, and the Spurs made just about everything. So let's get to number 2, which is a savvy vet. DeMar DeRozan, he just helped slow the game down. And I thought he helped get the Kings back in it. Again, they were down 11-0 to open the game. I thought that this was going to be a 50-point blowout. I did not think that the Kings were going to show up at all. And then all of a sudden they did. And the way they did that was because DeMar DeRozan kept getting the ball and kept stopping the game and getting to the free throw line. He ends up shooting 10 of 10 from the free throw line, 5 of 13 from the field. So the shooting percentage isn't great, but the 10 of 10 from the line is. The other thing I thought DeMar did really well is he had a couple really hard fouls. And so when the Spurs were getting a little full in them of themselves late in the game, I thought I like to see what DeMar DeRozan was doing. Nothing was easy, and he got a little chippy. So that's good for me. Also, Russell Westbrook got a little chippy with De'Aaron Fox, got called for a tech. That would have been one of our 6 quick thoughts, but to be honest, it got erased as he continued to turn the ball over 5 times. And so we're going to kind of put Russell Westbrook out to the side here and not have him as part of the 6 quick thoughts. Number 3, keep playing. Max Raynaud, again, he had his first couple of shots blocked by Victor Wembanyama. And then what I liked is he didn't stop. He didn't quit. He didn't quit fighting. He knows as well as everybody else does that Domantas Sabonis is out and that Dylan Cardwell is out and that he needs to play as many minutes as possible. And I thought he just kept making adjustments. So when you can have a 16-point, I believe it was 14 rebound, maybe it was 12 rebounds, but 2 assists and a block. He made adjustments, and that's something that, when you're going through the process of analyzing a rookie, can they make adjustments? Can they make adjustments on the fly? And, that's kind of something that they've got to learn how to do. And it's something that Max has to learn how to do. And I think he's doing a really good job. He did finish with 12 rebounds, my bad. 16 points, 12 rebounds. I'm looking at like a negative 21 on the night. I'm not really concerned because I thought he passed the eye test and I thought he did a really solid job overall. Let's get to point number 4, which is the Flying Monk. Malik Monk came off the bench in the first quarter when things were looking super grim, and he instantly started cooking against his former teammate in De'Aaron Fox, both college and pro teammate. He finished with 19 points and 6 assists. The energy that he brings is something that I've talked about like nonstop. There's just a huge difference when you have Malik Monk versus when you don't. And I thought he was really, really good in this game. To be honest with you, I'm kind of getting to a point where I would just like to see Neat Clifford start at the 1. And if he takes his lumps, he takes his lumps, and then bring in Malik Monk and have him play at the 1 as much as possible. He did a really good job again, 6 assists tonight. That's something that he needs to continue to do to get back to the 5.5 assists or whatever it was that he averaged last year. And I'm hoping that that's what we see down the stretch. Let's get to number 5, which I put make them feel you. The goal was to be physical with the Spurs, and it was very clear. And I thought that most of the Kings didn't get the memo. Again, Stephon Castle just kept flying through the lane and grabbing every rebound early in the game. And that was one of the reasons why the Kings fell behind so much early. It didn't matter if the Spurs were making their shots or not. Castle kept getting the rebound. But Precious Achiuwa came in. He got the memo. He started putting a body on people. He started getting extremely physical in the post. And to me, again, you can look at his stat line. He finished with 14 points and 4 boards and 4 assists. Like the 4 boards don't stand out. But one of the reasons why Max Raynaud had 12 was because Precious was clearing out people. And that's something that, it kind of hides. But he is a very good rebounder. And he's also a guy who usually helps your team rebounding numbers. So I thought he did a good job. He also had an absolutely spectacular dunk in this game, just like a full-fledged poster. Let's get to number 6, and that is let him run the team. Like Neat Clifford needs to play. I don't particularly like to pile on Devin Carter and kind of like just keep berating a young player. But what we saw last game from Devin Carter was, to me, it was unacceptable. It's not something that you can do at the NBA level where it's just about you in the whole second half of a game. And so, again, it's not to beat up on Devin Carter, but I don't think Devin Carter's a big part of the plan going forward for this team. I need to see Neat Clifford get these reps. And I thought tonight, Doug Christie did use him as the primary backup point guard, and he needs to be taking more and more and more of the minutes, and less needs to go to Russell Westbrook. I know Russell Westbrook's a legend, but again, how many nights are we seeing 4, 5, 6, 7 turnovers from Russ? And not only that, poor shooting numbers from Russ. He is definitely regressing to the mean with his 3-point shot. And this is something that, like, look, Neat Clifford needs the reps. This can't be about winning because you're 12-46. Like the season's over as far as wins and losses. So now it becomes about development. The key development pieces are Max Raynaud. It's Keegan Murray. It's Dylan Cardwell when he returns, if he gets back before the end of the season. And of course, it's Neat Clifford. And we need to see more. Tonight, he had 8 points. He had 5 rebounds. He had 4 assists. He had 2 steals. He's a good defender. I thought he stepped up and had some nice moments defensively, but it's also like, look, you got to get him in the game, and he's got to be engaged in the game, and he's got to be a primary. And if not a primary, he needs to be the secondary ball handler, not a guy who's just standing in the corner the whole time. So hopefully that happens as we get closer and closer to the end of the season. Again, we have, I think, 24 games left after this evening. All right, thanks for tuning in to Locked On Kings. Again, if you don't mind, thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, notification, rating and review wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, if you never miss an episode, it's time to make it official. Join the Locked On Everydayers Club and get ad-free audio, access to our members-only Discord, and much more, all built for our most loyal fans. Go into the description or go to lockedonkings.supercast.com. See you on Monday.